to boil. If Howard peeped through the kitchen window at lunchtime, I think it's likely he'll do it again. I don't hear anyone knocking, which must mean that he has gone or is standing outside the kitchen, wondering how he can get in through the window. The music that I had just turned up, perhaps too high, doesn't sound as good now as it did earlier. There is a knock on the glass, and I don't have to wonder whether it is the kitchen or the living room window. If there is something that I am certain of at this moment, it is that Howard has noticed the pot on the stove and is standing outside the window, calmly trying to decide whether he should do his old maid a favor and remove the pot from the stove or just leave it and go away. While I ask myself what I would do in his position, I can hear that he has come to the same conclusion as me. I hear the latch being lifted and know instinctively that he is forcing the window open. Without a second thought, I rush from the bathroom to the bedroom. I realize that I am taking quite a risk, and it is likely that Howard has seen me. One can easily see the hole between the bathroom and the bedroom from the kitchen window. In order to see if he has come in, or if he even intends to come in, I peep as carefully as I can out of the doorway. Now I see him properly for the first time. He has pushed down his hood and poked his head in through the open window. I noticed that his hair is longer than when I saw him last 5 years ago. He has a grip on the shelf above the sink, and it's quite clear that he is going to heave his body through the open window. I don't dare to look any longer. Any second now he could lift up his head, and I probably wouldn't have time to draw back. Besides, it's not safe to stand in the doorway any longer. I try to avoid being in view from the kitchen window, except perhaps for 1 or 2 seconds. As I slide cautiously into the bedroom, stand for a few seconds in the middle of the room and try to hear what he is doing out there. He groans as he struggles, and I imagine that he has gotten stuck on the window latch or torn a hole in his anorak or pants, when he suddenly says, "Damn it," and some other words that are drowned by the music in the living room. I get down on my knees without even thinking, poke my head under the bed, and pull out a box of toys that belong to my son Halldór. I then lie down on the soft carpet, squeeze my body in under the bed, and pull the sheet down to the floor, to hide myself from the doorless entrance to the bedroom and from the window that faces the dim back garden. I still find it difficult to believe that it is actually Howard in the kitchen, that the man would even dare to visit me at all. And why on earth does he have to choose today, I thought. I thought I had seen the last of Howard Knudsen. Once again, I have found out how ridiculous it is to believe something in his life. I hear a noise through big funds, loud guitar playing, like something heavy falling onto the floor. There seem to be 2 thumps, then the windows bangs shut. I think it is bound to break, but I don't hear the sound of broken glass. There is no doubt about it, Howard is inside. He pants, and something that he notices, I can't imagine what, makes him exclaim with disapproval. What on earth is this? It sounds as though he is walking into the living room. I didn't see what kind of shoes he was wearing when I looked at him from the window, but they tap on the floorboard as he walks. If I know him at all, they are patent leather shoes with pointed toes. I can't imagine that the Icelandic winter would have any influence on the type of shoes that Howard Knudsen wears. What cement, he says indignantly, and the next moment the music has been turned off. No wonder my pal Emil can't bear to stay at home. I repeat his words to myself. What cement? No wonder I can't bear to stay at home. Cement is, of course, one of the first words that come to mind in connection with Howard. Cement in its literal meaning. I don't know what to think about this unexpected visit, and I don't know quite what to expect. I haven't heard from Howard for about 5 years, since we sat in the kitchen on Brook Road in Stoke Newington, and I gave him £400 to go away. Go away as far as possible, much further than just out of London, preferably to another country. And he said, with a grin fueled by the 2 or 3 pints of special brew he had drunk before lunch, that if I could give him 400 more, then he would never show his face again. I should have given it to him. Though there isn't much one can be confident that Howard will do right, I believe that he would have kept the £400 promise. At least he has kept his word about what would happen otherwise. He goes back into the kitchen. I hear the sound of bubbling water die down. He must have taken the boiling water off the stove and I presume that he has turned the gas off, though it's not quite certain. More likely, he has just taken the pot off the heat. "Hello," Howard shouts. "Hello, Emil." He is in the living room. I hear him move the bottles on the table, then open one of them, probably the whiskey. "Is anyone at home?" he calls out. I hear the seal tear and the metallic sound when the cap is screwed off. I can hear it clearly because there is no real wall between the bedroom and the living room, just a partition through which one can hear almost everything. "Not bad," he says. Now he is sniffing at it. I wait for him to take a swig, to hear the splash from the 15-year-old whiskey when the bottle is tipped up, but I don't hear anything like it. Instead, he slams the bottle down on the table, and the next moment his shoes echo on the hall floor. "Are you there, Emil?" he says, as if he knows quite well that I am hiding in here and I'm only waiting for the right moment to come out and surprise him. I lift the dark blue sheet up 1 or 2 centimeters, and my heart nearly stops when I see Howard pause in the space between the bathroom and the bedroom. I can't see if he is looking in here, but I hear him whistle something, and I imagine that he is trying to decide in which direction he should go. Then he grows silent, goes into the toilet, and stops in front of the sink, no doubt to look at himself in the mirror. He can't have gone far, Howard says to his reflection. The millionaire Emil S. Halldórsson. How on earth does he know about the lottery prize? Who has he been talking to? Who told him about it? It has to be the reason for this visit, unless it is unless it is entirely a coincidence that he calls me a millionaire, which is most unlikely. "What's that?" he says, surprised, and the next moment I hear him screwing the lid off something, probably my aftershave, and slap his hand on his cheeks or neck. "Après rasage," he says with a hard French accent, and then in English, before he bangs the bottle down on the table beside the sink. I was right about his shoes. He is wearing the same kind of shoes he wore 5 years ago, black patent leather shoes with pointed toes that have clearly covered a lot of ground. Perhaps these are the shoes he bought in London just after we arrived there together. On the other hand, his pants, dark grey terline pants that droop down a little over his shoes when he opens his fly in front of the toilet bowl, seem to be comparatively new. I haven't seen him in this kind of pants before. He starts whistling again as he urinates. I turn my head and push it down into the carpet with as much strength as I can muster. The air under the bed is terrible. When I bought the flat, I got someone to rub down the rough surface on the walls, and the resulting dust collected in the carpet, where I suspect most of it still is. It feels as if my head is getting stuffed full with dust, which isn't exactly what I need in these circumstances. By lifting the sheet slightly higher, I see that Howard is still wearing his anorak. It seems to be torn above the lower right-hand pocket, which might have happened when he climbed in through the kitchen window. When he pulls the anorak back, probably to prevent it from getting in the way of the stream of urine, I can see he is wearing a suit and a light grey shirt, which I must admit goes very well with the suit. My first thought is that he has been shopping in Reykjavik on credit and expects me, who in his mind is quite well off at the moment, to help him pay the bills. He stops whistling for a moment, farts, and sighs happily, and then he starts whistling again, And when he starts whistling again, I think I recognize Habanera from Carmen. It is obvious that he has consumed quite a lot of liquid. He sips up his fly and, without washing his hands, rushes out of the door by grabbing onto the lintel and pulling himself into the hall. I don't remember these abrupt movements of his. He seems to be in a hurry, and I begin to hope feebly that he will leave soon, perhaps snatch something to take with him and then disappear before I turn from the shop or from wherever he has imagined that I have gone. But these hopes are short-lived. He stops suddenly in the hall and comes back into the bedroom. My guess is that something caught his eye as he was coming out of the bathroom. He walks straight up to the computer, which is in the corner by the headboard of the bed, just beside my legs. He sits down at the table, the old wooden chair creaks, and his nylon anorak crinkles. I lie dead still and don't dare to lift the sheet. Howard presses one key on the keyboard and then seems to stand up from the chair. He takes off his anorak, throws